Hi everyone, it's John. This is going to be an online lesson in terms of how to do the harmonisation exercises for Criteria 3 in the theory unit. So I'll send this out at some point, but I gave this hard copy out. This is the actual assessment that you guys have to do, yeah? So you've got melodies and you have to put chords in that functionally work with the melodies essentially. So the process to do this is actually on the first page, but I'm going to go through it with you. So the first thing we need to do is identify the key of the phrase. So if we're looking at this first one together, so I'm looking at this piece, oh, don't want to move that, this piece of music up here, and I can see there's no sharps or flats in the whole melody there, and there's no key signature at the beginning. So you'd be thinking you a C major or A minor, and if I look, the first note is a C. There's another C there that's not going for a long time, and it ends on a C. So it's probably C major, but like we talked about when we talked about this one in class, you could actually rewrite this in A minor if you wanted to. It would work brilliantly if you did an A minor. That's the beauty of this, is that the whole point is for you to come up with your own ideas. So I've identified it's in the key of C, and then what I would do is put together a chord chart sort of table thing that we've done quite a lot in classes. So to do that, the first thing we need to do is know how to work out the scale. So I'm going to send this out as well, but we've done this in class, so you can either use sort of the method that Yo's taught you with the cycle of fifths. That's quite a good method of doing things. Or this is the first one that we learned because it's easier to remember, which is the tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So I'm sure you all know that C major is white notes, but if we wanted to work it out, then we could look up here and go tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So it's tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 and then from B, a semitone takes us back to C. So it's all the white notes. So, if it was the key of F sharp, we could go start on F sharp and go tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 and semitone takes us back to F sharp. So we're like F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, D sharp, F, which we actually call E sharp in this key to get the letters right, going from D sharp to E sharp down there, and then back to F sharp essentially. But we're in the key of C, nice easy one. It's a major key. So I've given different tables out here that give the chord types. So I'm going to put the roots in. I'm going to go C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. There we go. Let's make these a bit. Should we colour them in? I'll use this for a while. Where's the cut? Because I've got it on split screen. Right. Just to make them look different. So we've got our roots in under the roots, and then we need to build the chords. So the first chord is major 7 chord in this key. If we had the 7, if not, it's just a major chord. And we do that by building chords in thirds, remember. So this is the root, and then we go 2, 3. So the third note of this chord is in E. And then we go 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. So it's a G is the next one. Then 1, 2, and 3. So B. So they are the notes of this chord. C, E, and G, and B is the major 7 chord. D would be D, F, A, and skip over B to C. So D, F, A, and C. E would be E, G, B. E, G, and B, and then D. F is F, A, C, E. A, C, and E. This one is B, D, and F. This one is C, E, and G. This one is D, F, and A. So I would always recommend doing this because it helps us work out what the chords are. In terms of what the chords, so if I use sevenths for all of these, C major is just C to start with. So remember, if we're not using sevenths, we could just leave it as it is. But this one is minor, so I'm going to add a little M. This one is minor, so add a little M. 6 is minor, and this one is minor. Flat 5, which all stuff we've been going over for some time now. If we wanted to add sevens, C is actually a major 7 type, mainly because when we look at the chord, we look at the 7th, it's a major 7th interval, yeah, so it's a semitone less than an octave. Whereas if I look at this one over here, G to F is not a major 7th, it's a minor 7th interval essentially, yeah. So this one's called major 7. Oh. Let's put it right. D minor 7, because if it's a minor chord and the distance between the root and the 7th is a minor 7th, then we just add a 7. Just add a 7 there. That one's the same. This one's the same. This one, or this one here is the same as this one really, where C to B, F to E is a major 7th. It's a semitone less than an octave. Major 7. And with this one though, it's a major chord, but the distance between the root and the 7 is not a major 7, it's a minor 7. So we just put big 7. And this is known as the dominant chord. Tends to be only one dominant chord in major and harmonic minor keys, and they're both on chord 5, essentially. Anyway, so that's quite useful that we now know what note is in every note of every chord in the key. So the next thing we need to do, really, if we look at this, is put chord options in for the bars. So this is where you need to figure out where you want to start, really. So, and there are different sort of thought processes around this. You don't need to necessarily always start at the beginning. Starting at the end is quite good because you want a good ending. So if we think the piece of music's in C, there's a C at the end of it, that's quite an important note. But what we could do is we could look at our chord chart now and think, well, a C major chord has a C in it, and that would work pretty well. But actually, we could use a D minor 7 because a C is the 7th note in that chord, so it's in it. But we can't use E minor because there's no C. But we could finish on an F major 7. Yeah, it would sound different. But the note is in the chord, so it would sound good. Same with A minor 7, we could finish on A minor 7. That's why I was saying you could actually rewrite this piece of music in A minor if we wanted to. But we can't use this chord because there's no C in it. So let's go for the obvious. Let's. Oh, hang on a minute, I was on the wrong page. So if I go over here and I click on the note, above it I'm going to write or use Command K. It's probably Control if you're on a PC. And that allows me to put chord symbols in. So I'm going to put C Maj 7 there. And with this one, let's do the chord before it, so a B note. So if we look over at our chord chart, I have got a B in this chord, G7. Now that would sound pretty good. We've also got a B in E minor 7. Now, one of the things that I've said about chord 3 in a major key is chord 3 kind of sounds a bit weak because it sounds very similar to chord 1. There's got a lot of the same notes. If you look E, G, and B, E, G, and B. Yeah, so it kind of gets confused with chord 1 a little bit sometimes. But it does have a very powerful use, this one. If you wanted to modulate to its relative minor, which is the 6th degree, which is A minor, then play this as a dominant chord to make it major, basically. Take the 3rd and raise it to a G sharp. And then it goes very powerfully to there, essentially, because it's like 5-1 in the key of A minor. Anyway, don't worry if you don't get that. But for some of you might enjoy that. So we've got a B. Look through here. We could, I don't want to use the same chord twice, but could have it the 7th. But the most powerful chord would be this, because then what we're going to have is chord 5 going to chord 1 to finish. It would sound really, really powerful. So again, Command K, on the right bit of software, over here, Command K lets me put in chord symbol. And you can use Command T for text, but they just look better. So with this, we've got a row of notes here. So you can view this differently, really. We could view that as an important note, that as a passing note, that as an important note, and that is sort of a passing note. Its technical term is a lower auxiliary note because it's kind of going from that note down and back up to the same note again. If you see that little arc, and you have higher auxiliary notes as well, where it goes da da da. So I could think, well, that's important and that's important. These two are like sort of passing notes. So we've got a D and a B. Again, if we look through here, I'm looking for D's and B's basically. So G7 again would work really nicely, but we've got a G7 there. So D and B could use this, but chord 7 sounds a bit strange, maybe a little bit weak in this sort of world. Could use E minor 7, it's got a D and a B in it as well. Another thing that you can view these as well is actually it works quite well sometimes when that is the root and that is the fifth of the chord, yeah? So it's like root 7, which is kind of in the chord, and then passing note to the fifth, yeah? So you've got D and A, root and fifth. So D and A, root and fifth, and it has a seventh, which is that one. So I would use D minor 7 here because actually it's got D, C, and A. D, C, and A are in the chords, so it sounds good. So let's put this in. So we've got D minor 7, which sounds great there. And this is a cycle of fifths, which sounds great anyway. So 2, 5, 1. So before it, we could put, so we've got an F. Now, you've got an F and an E. If you think about it, this lasts for 3 quavers, and then this is just 1 quaver. So this is 3 times the amount of time as this one. So this is the way more important note. So we're looking really, this is just a quick passing note. We're really looking for a chord that has an F in it. So if we look at C, it doesn't. If we look at D, it does, but we've got a D there. I don't want to use it twice. If this one, it doesn't. If we look at this one, it does because it's the root. Look at this one, it does because it's the seventh. This one doesn't have it, and this one doesn't sound that good because it's chord 7 in a major key. So we could use either of these really. Doesn't really matter. Should we go for? Let's go for F because we've not had an F yet. So let's just do that. We could use any of them. So I go F major 7, like that, using Command K. And I might stop here. I'm going to start at the beginning, so I want to sort of join these chord progressions together. So the beginning, the pieces in C, we've got a C, I can use a C. And actually, if we look at this 3 in a row, the middle one we can ignore as a passing note, so C and E are quite important. So we could use A minor, C and E, but I'm going to use C because it's more obvious. And establishes the key better. So Command K, C major 7. So yeah, as well, I've put instructions on here. You don't have to follow it to the letter, but it gives you an idea about what will work nicely. So 2 chords a bar and minims. So that's what we've been doing, 2 chords a bar. So could put another chord here, essentially. So we've got kind of 3 in a row going down there. So this is important. That's a passing note, really. And if we look, so we've got an E. So an A minor could work here. We've not had one of those recently or at all yet. Put an A minor in there. Then we come back to a C. So this is where we need to kind of join these chord progressions together, essentially. So we could go back to a C because that would establish the key nicely. But I'm going to go to an F. And for those of you who know that famous recent Justin Timberlake song, it goes C, A to basically like F chords. So take a leaf from Justin Timberlake. There we go. And then this one. So we're not gonna have 2 Fs in a row because we've got one that's going to be here that's different. So if we've got, it's an F, but I don't want to use an F chord because they would have 3 in a row, which would be rubbish. So could use a G because it's the 7th. We could use, what else? A D minor would sound good. So let's go for that. Let's go D, D minor 7. There we go. So that is done. That is all you have to do. Now, if you wanted to, you could stop video here, or you could skip through the next bit quickly, because what would be good is to be able to score these out so you can hear it, like this idea over here. And it's also a good skill to have. If you're going to do that, first thing I'll do is put the roots in. So I hit the N, and it's all in minims. So I'm going to go C, A, F, D, F, D, then we got G to C, right? Simple, put the roots in. And then I can start writing the chords in. Now, what we can do is, if I expand this out, we can use, to do this on the software, we can use different voices. So if I click on the melody line, it's in voice 1. If I now come off of that and click on voice 2, or get a note, minims, voice 2, I can write on the stave as well, and it will separate the voices out so we can see the melody really clearly and our chord notes. So if we were to look at the chart that we did earlier, you'll see that a C major 7 chord has a C, an E, a G, and a B in it. So we kind of need those notes. So I'm going to put G, an E, and a B down there. And like I said, if you want to skip through this quickly, you can. So an A minor 7 has an A, a C, an E, and a G in it. So we want those. Remember, the roots are already doing the root notes. So if we had like a G, an E, a C, and do you see I'm trying to keep these parts so they don't move a lot? So these, the G and the E stay the same. G and the E, the B comes up, that changes. Then we've got an F major 7 chord. So put the A up there, that there, and we already got a. So I'm looking at the melodies, but we've got a C up there. So that's all good, but let's stick one in anyway. So D minor 7, so it needs a C for the 7th. It's got a D already. Put those in. F major 7, so I could be lazy and just look at that one and think, well, I'll do something similar. So, I can alter it later if I need to. You see, I'm trying not to cross the parts as well, so the melody is on top of the chords, essentially. And this isn't necessarily aimed at being able to play on the piano. This is just a sketch of an idea, because you would need big hands to be able to do this, or very, very big hands. So D minor 7, let's stick that in like that. And G7, we need these notes, and C major 7. We need those notes. There you go. So that is to score it out, and then I'll play it after I record this separately and add it in. There you go. So that is how to harmonise in a nutshell. And this is like functional harmony, not sitting around spending hours messing around at a piano or a guitar, randomly coming up with ideas by trying to, but actually understanding how music kind of works. So remember, the first thing we did was identify the keys. We looked at the melody, figured out no sharps, no flats. C was a very strong note, so it's probably C major. And then we worked out the scale using these sort of patterns, tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone for major scales. You can work it out on this. And then fill out like a chord chart thing. So we put the roots in. This tells us what type of chords they are. And remember, these patterns stay in every key. In every major key, the 4th chord is always a major 7. In every major key, the 2nd chord is always minor 7. So you just remember that and you know it. And then you can build chords in thirds. So you go C, E, and G. And B is that one. D is D, F, A, and C. So you always skip over sort of one to kind of spell the chords out. And then you just look at the melody, figure out We're looking at this one, like what the important notes are, what the notes are that we can ignore. So like we've got 3 in a row sort of there, so we can ignore that one, think that's important, that's important. That's not important, that's important. Um, and then look and see where those notes are and then pick that chord. Or if there's a couple of chords, you kind of make an artistic creative choice to what one you want. So hopefully that gives you an idea. For the actual assessment, you don't need to score it out. You can just put chord symbols in if you want, but you won't be able to hear it until you score your ideas out. But this is really helpful to be able to do anyway. Okay? So hopefully I'll see you again soon.